I love to cook for my family, right? So I can make great food. And then along the way, oh, look at this. We're selling a whole schwack load of these baskets all over the world. So I'm going to walk away from my, 9-to-5 corporate job, and I'm going to do this full time.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, our sponsor for the show today is Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota, and they were recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through their investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. Look, there's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. With me, I'm excited to have Chad Romzek. Chad, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for coming on the show, and I'm excited to have you. We met at actually my conference, the North Star Real Estate Conference, back in, I forget when it was. September? I think it was September.
September 20th.
So you came there in the Twin Cities. It was a lot of fun. Great to meet you. So I'm excited to have you on the show. A little bit about Chad. He's the creator and owner of Kich Ash Basket. Chad is a creative, energetic, passionate entrepreneur specializing in solving problems with simple solutions. His background is in mechanical engineering, project management, and operations leadership. He worked at 2 Fortune 500 companies and a greenfield startup business before embarking on the side hustle in the barbecue grilling industry. I'm going to stop right there because I could keep on reading, but it's way more interesting when you tell your own story. So, Chad, give our listeners a little bit about kind of your background, and then what is this Kich Ash Basket? Because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. All right. So the quick 2 bits is I'm originally from Michigan, downstate Michigan, underneath the bridge. Went to college, Michigan Tech for mechanical engineering. Met my beautiful wife my second year in college, and fell in love and kind of played the dating game forever. Graduated back in 96. So I don't know how that puts me in relationship to your age there, but I think we're similar. And we moved out west to Seattle. I actually landed a job with Boeing right out of college. Tracy followed me out there. We got married, and actually we didn't start a family until 2002. But out in Seattle, I worked for Boeing. Interesting job there as a mechanical engineer, and it's a roller coaster ride at that company too, because they're up and down and all around, and I kind of got bored. Actually met some friends on a ski bus out in Washington State, and they worked at Kimberly-Clark, and I actually had worked at Kimberly-Clark when I was a student in college, and so started skiing, snowboarding with those guys, and not long after that, they're like, "Hey, we're looking for an engineer, another mechanical engineer." And I'm like, "Well, I'm maybe available. What's going on?" So sure enough, like in 2 weeks, I got hired back with Kimberly-Clark. And so I worked at their Everett manufacturing facility for 7 or so years, engineering stuff, asset management and whatnot. But then I had a buddy that was leaving there to go to a startup company to build modular homes back in 2006 or so. And I'm like, "Hey, that sounds really interesting. Take me with you." And had I ever known that the housing market was going to do what it did, maybe that wasn't the best choice. However, I learned a ton in that position. I was like the 5th employee. We built a factory to build modules. And actually we ended up building Holiday Inn Expresses. We built 2 full, Holiday Inn Expresses, basically all built indoors. You haul the modules, which would have, a queen size room on each end in the hallway in the middle,
Huh.
stack them up 3 high and as long as you need to go. And so yeah, it was fantastic. But like I said, I learned a lot. So the market wasn't the best. We could have been a lot smarter with our money and how we built out the factory and everything. So I left there at the end of '08. And then we moved back to Neenah, Wisconsin with Kimberly Clark. So that was the time when I needed to get a new barbecue grill. So I was looking for something that I could do everything with. I wanted to be able to cook a pizza at 600 degrees or sear steaks or slow smoke pork butts or brisket at 225, 250. So that's where I first, in 2010, I got my first ceramic grill. So now we get into the Kich Ash Basket story. And about a month into my cook, about a month into using the grill, I was trying to cook a pizza, Papa Murphy's Pizza, if your listeners are familiar. Love at 425.
Yeah. All right.
But I couldn't get the temperature above 300 degrees. So I called Chip at the shop where I bought the grill. I'm like, Chip, what's going on? Can't get my temperature up. He's like, how well did you clean out the charcoal? I'm like, well, I stirred it with the silly stick that you guys sell us. And he's like, yeah, you really have to clean out the charcoal. Otherwise it won't breathe and your temperatures won't come up in the grill. And so that was kind of the aha moment of, gosh, if I just had a bucket or a basket, I could sift the ash out of the charcoal, like sifting sand from the rocks, and I'd be off to the races. And so Tracy and I went looking all over the internet. I'm like, I'll buy one right now. And nobody was making anything. There's a few ideas out there. Some guys had drilled some holes in some colanders or something, but I'm like, I'll make it. I'll get some expanded wire, figure out how to form. You got to form a cone because the bottoms of these things are kind of conical. And so that was kind of a challenge, but I made one, got it welded up. My dad helped me weld the first one. It was ugly. I mean, we're wire feed welding expanded metal, which isn't pretty to work with, and
I don't know.
had coat hangers for handles. It worked, right? But yeah, that was a start in 2010. And then I had other buddies getting these ceramic grills, Big Green Eggs or Grill Domes or whatever. And they're like, hey, will you make me one of those? So I probably made 8 or 10 of them. And then fast forward to about 2013, after I'd made several of these, and I had started working with a business coach, life coach, business coach, everything. Our mutual friend, Trevor McGregor. And he's like, hey, what do you got in the idea bucket? And so we started talking about this. And so in 2013, we went looking for a manufacturer. And we actually started with one here locally in Wisconsin. And they did all things wire. So that was kind of the answer. They even used to make driving range golf ball buckets back in the day. So that was my guy. That was our start. And we launched a website in 2014, started with the single batch. So that was interesting too, because I ordered 100. Didn't know if I was going to sell any of them, right? And
what's the cost of the order of 100? Do you remember?
Yeah, so between tooling and everything, it's probably $5,000 or better.
Okay. So you have a
rough
minimum
numbers.
of $5,000 investment.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what we started with. Got into it and ordered the first batch. I'm like, I'm not sleeping, whatever. Get the first batch in.
And this is all while working full time, or did you quit by then?
Yep. Nope. I was still working full time. I didn't walk away until 2017.
Okay.
But yeah, this is just like, hey, let's try it. Let's see if we got something.
Yep.
Start a website, start a Facebook page, see what we can do. And it starts smart. I mean, that's kind of the big part of our story that I tell people. And get it out there. To sit, let's take a little sidetrack. I had taken an entrepreneurial class at the Fox Valley Tech probably in 2014, maybe. No, 2012. Sorry.
Okay.
And
for this purpose.
For something.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I didn't really know,
Yeah.
but they got deep into the weeds of business plans and all this stuff, and it pretty much set me back for a year, I would say, until we basically started working with Trevor and said, all right, how can we boil this down? How can you get it out there and test it? How do you just get going and see what you got without a huge investment?
Yeah.
Also, $5,000 is still a lot. That's a heck of a nice mountain bike or a set of snowboard gear.
Yeah.
but so yeah, so we got into it, but the big learning part of that story is trust but verify. I follow that a lot. So we got the first batch. I had designed the basket off my neighbor's Big Green Egg, because that's the most popular one. Because at the time, I actually had a different model. It was a grill dome, which is a little bit smaller. Anyway, so I got the batch, took one to the shop, and dropped it into a new egg, and it didn't fit. So a couple things happened. One was dimension was not interpreted correctly off the drawing with my manufacturer. Two, Big Green Egg had changed the internal diameter of the lower fire bowl in 2012. So I'm like, oh no, what do I do now? So it did two things. It forced me to open up the conversation with the manufacturer to say, all right, how can we, get a new set of tooling and get going on this? And the second thing is, what do I do with 100 baskets that don't fit in the egg? So that forced me to, take a look at the other grills out there. And sure enough, it fit in 3 other grills that were basically alternatives to the Big Green Egg. So, part of the story is it's better to be lucky than good. And sure enough, I had 2 models out of the gates.
And then you were able to sell. So were you able to sell those?
Yep.
That you
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. And to this day, a little bit different, but those basic dimensions fit several other grills.
So you're still manufacturing essentially that same product.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so a lot has happened between then and now, but that's kind of where it all started.
So you create this product, you don't know if it'll sell. How did the sales start? Take me through that. Like, you create this thing and okay, first of all, what did you do to put yourself out there so you start getting people to sell? Because you got whatever you said, 8 or 10, whatever that you've made for friends. So obviously they've already got theirs. They don't need a new one, but they're potentially spreading the word. But you still got to sell at least 100 of them, and then I'm sure you had to make the second batch to fit the green egg. So you got to make another 100.
So I had 200 out of the gates.
Yep.
So how do you start it? Well, in this day and age, social media and the internet, everything, it makes things considerably easier. Had it been 10 years prior, I would have been pounding the pavement, knocking on every grill store door that I could find. So fortunately, I had an awesome grill shop here, and Chip kind of worked through the bugs with me and said, hey, what if you did this? So he was one of our very first retailers. And then we put together a Facebook page and a website. It started simple. We got the Facebook page out to friends, started with, posting food pictures, so if you look at my Facebook or my Instagram, it's all, not all, I mean, I do some business stuff about new products and whatnot, but what I'm mostly trying to do is share the experience of cooking for friends and family.
Yeah.
And that's basically how the idea came up, is that, hey, I want to be able to cook a pizza and fire up the grill quick and, get it ready for my wife and boys. And so that's a lot about what my social media presence is for, cooking for friends and family, simple cooks. I'll do some extravagant stuff like brisket that takes all day, or pork butts that cook overnight and stuff, or some crazy things. But yeah, so we started just with the social media aspect and the website, and basically got the concept out there. in different forums. So then I started following some blogs and some different forums like Big Green Egg Barbecuers and things like that. And they're fanatics. I mean, it's like anything else, golfing or Corvette club or something like that. You get into the Big Green Egg ceramic grilling world, and people are building, nice tables and outfitting their outdoor cook areas just to be for this egg thing. And so finally one day, I think it was summer of 2014, somebody had posted a note, man, I can't get the temperature up in my grill. What's going on? And I finally had the cojones, if I can say this on this podcast, to put myself out there and say, check this out. We just launched it this spring. Try it. My fire it breathes a lot better. I can clean out the charcoal a lot better. And that was kind of the instance of the start of it. And, I get things from both sides. People are like, that's the silliest idea I've ever seen. I just separate my charcoal. I take the big chunks, I put them in this little bucket, and the little chunks, I put them in that bucket, and I sift out the rest. I'm like, ooh, you're not my guy. You have more time. You must be retired, for starters. You have more time than God, and I need to cook quick.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a half an hour pre-sorting all my.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But then the overwhelming majority was like, damn, I wish I'd have thought of that. Yeah. So when I heard compliments like that, that's like, all right, we're on to something. Let's keep this going. So that's kind of how it started on, just on the internet. But then we had folks, you get your social media folks, and actually a good friend of mine now, Craig Tabor, found us, I think it was late 2014. He's down in Atlanta, in the heart of the ceramic grill world. He's like, hey, do you mind if I tell my local store about you guys and see if they want to bring some baskets in? I'm like, that'd be okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
So that's where we started to grow into stores and stuff, is basically through social media.
So a lot, I would imagine that's going to be probably your biggest amount of sales, is selling direct to retailers. Is that accurate, or is it selling directly to customers?
Yeah. So early on we started, it was mostly through our website.
Yeah.
And now for the past 3 years, it's been primarily into retailers. We got the point of sale and everything. So we're probably about 70% into retailers and 30% into online, be it our website or on Amazon.
How much does that affect your profit margin? To a retailer, is it a pretty big hit, or are you able to absorb that pretty well?
We can absorb it, and we learn. So growing slow, we learn about the different pricing levels, and how to make it so that a retailer can make margin. We don't use distributors really. We have some small distributors in the UK and in the Netherlands, and then actually we're starting to work with a company up in Canada. We're in Canada, but we want to move to kind of a distributor model. So we've been able to price the product such that there's enough margin in there so that everybody's happy, and we can keep. We've built such great relationships with our retailers from early on, and keeping them happy and making sure that they're profitable at the end of the day is our biggest goal.
Yeah.
Even with regards to Amazon, retailers like, oh, do you sell on Amazon? Yes, we sell on Amazon. However, free shipping is covered by the markup on our basket as compared to what we sell on our own website and through retailers. So kind of crack that nut with that.
Yeah. So establishing pricing, that's obviously a sensitive subject. You want to be priced competitively, but you don't want to be too cheap where the profit margin just kind of evaporates. And that's no matter what you're doing. I'm doing, some private consulting with multifamily investors, and like the pricing is always that pain point of, okay, where do I go to where it's not too cheap but not too expensive? You want to be there. How did you determine your price? Was there a lot of thought into that, or did you just kind of start at one level and increase it or lower it? How did that work?
Yeah, so it kind of started with a little bit of a survey of friends and neighbors and folks to say, all right, what do you think this is? What do you think this is worth? And then we marked it up a little bit from there and got started. And then, so we've also transitioned. So we started with mild steel initially. And the problem with mild steel is over time it degrades, it rusts, and it breaks down.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a wear item. And we didn't want to do that, for the long haul. So we've made continuous improvement and changes along the way here. And so we went to stainless steel. We started in that at the end of 2017. And the beginning of 2018, we transitioned to all stainless steel. And we actually import now from India. So all of my stainless product comes from India, who's another connection, a friend of mine I worked with at Kimberly-Clark, who has friends and family back in India, and one of his good buddies and him are part owners of a shop that does all things wire in central India. So that's a fun, it's who you know and who you strike up a conversation with.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we made that transition, we knew, well, the product costs more right out of the gates because of 304 stainless steel.
Yeah.
And so that was an opportunity to look at our pricing and see, okay, in the market. The other piece of that puzzle is, fortunately, you have a good idea, and unfortunately, it's going to get copied. Yeah. So we started to see copies coming into the Amazon world, which I call Amazon the necessary evil, I guess. However, if I had to do it again, I don't think I'd with the growth we had, we did not need to go to Amazon. But we thought we did because there's so many other things out there. But going on to Amazon within 3 months, there was a copy that had come in from overseas. And we're like, this sucks. So we got to get our patent lawyer involved and, go after them that way and things like that. So it's been an ongoing battle. Anyway.
So can people make, I don't even know exactly how that works because you got your patent and all that kind of stuff. Are people still manufacturing copies of it? And how do you
there's alternatives that have come out with a little bit, different setup or a different arrangement, So yeah, they're out there. I mean, we fight to stay ahead of the game with, the highest quality product. We've, built and changed it, made it better along the way. We've built the brand and the customer service and, and everything with that. So that's been a big part of our success is building the brand, having the fun name Kich Ash Basket. And our tagline is shake that ash and light that fire. So people kind of gravitate toward that, but we're making it, the highest quality product in the market as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all got to be part of the same game. So, yeah. But so I don't know if I answered your pricing question.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say you did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But fortunately, I'll say one more thing though, is fortunately we're first to market. Yeah, so I had to figure it out from the ground up.
It helps and it doesn't help, right?
Correct. But what's happened now is that, I see the knockoffs coming in from China and they're basically selling at our wholesale pricing, which I totally get because they don't have to build in the layers to be able to, please a retailer. They could just sell direct. And that's the challenge with Amazon and what happens there. So to educate your folks too of look at what you're buying and where it comes from. But the other thing that's happened is our friends at Big Green Egg actually launched their own solution.
I was waiting for you to either say that or wondering when that's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so for years, I mean, we had a great relationship, obviously, in my network, or we call it our charcoal grilling family tree. A lot of people have bought eggs because of, because of what I've shown them, or, whatever. And so we've promoted it a lot. And unfortunately, they decided to make their own solution. However, they made it different, and they call it a fire bowl. And it's a different way to tackle it, but it's also $20 more than our $80 solution.
There you go.
So that tells me, and I'm learning along the way the different levels of distributor, wholesale, retail. We've been as smart as we can be to still be profitable on down the road, so that I don't have to go back to the cubicle, Todd.
You're not going back. Hey, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Pine Financial Group. Look, you work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Because of inflation, money sitting idle erodes your wealth. Many investors understand that real estate is a great investment, but may not want the effort or the risk that comes with owning their own property. They want to sit back and have payments, hit their bank account each and every month. Stop eroding your wealth and start building it by asking your money to work for you. You should be earning profits while you sleep, an investment backed by real estate. Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota, was recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through the investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. There's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. It's www.pineinvestments.com. Go on to some mistakes. What are some mistakes? Because I'm sure there's been at least one mistake you've made along the way. But what are some mistakes that you guys let's just focus on one mistake that you've made along the way, and then how did you learn from that?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, trust but verify is a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. So in my world, I'm getting prototyped is a big thing. So, I made the mistake of just getting the very first one, just getting some baskets and not, verifying the latest model. So, and I had a similar issue recently where I had a rectangular basket, and, I didn't force the issue of, okay, I need a prototype flown here, so I can verify it in the grill before they ship them. And so that's something that I'm on the big on is the trust but verify thing, for anything. So yeah, that's kind of
What you guys have grown this business. You started in, I think you said 2013ish. Now you've grown it 2020. What have you? Yeah, isn't that crazy? You're probably going, wow, it's already been whatever 6 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, but what? Give us, our listeners, some habits, some success habits, things you've learned that have really been able to set you up for that success, something that they can take into their business, whether it's most of my listeners, real estate or any other business. But what are these success habits that they can take?
Yeah. Well, the key thing for us is having a coach, a business advisor alongside us along the way. Just, the outside perspective. I mean, I can't even talk this guy into getting a charcoal grill, but he loves what we do. So it's okay. Yeah.
I'll help. I'll prod him a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. Good luck. So that's a key thing. But the other thing is kind of having just a few goals out there, and then, not making myself too spread out, but having the key things that we're working on and making a little progress on those every day, every week. And I'd go up and down and kind of get down on myself because I'm not that far along on this. And when I, either talking with Trevor or just kind of the internal talk of, hey, I'm knocking these three things out, man. I got Post-it notes, in the office for, hey, I got a book for the National Barbecue Association in Louisville or things like that. Just trying to keep myself organized on a weekly and a daily basis to just keep making progress and looking down the road at the next thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's so important. I think it's in the habit of wanting to get so much done and like conquer everything. Right. And as you talk about, have your focus, don't spread yourself out, just keep making progress. And, slow progress goes a long way in the end.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden 6 years is like, whoa, look at what we've actually accomplished.
Yeah. Well, and being well balanced too. I think that's a key thing for us as a family. And it's why we started this business is because, okay, I love to cook for my family, right? So I can make great food. And then along the way, oh, look at this. We're selling a whole schwack load of these baskets all over the world. So I'm going to walk away from my, 9-to-5 corporate job, and I'm going to do this full time. And with that, I mean, I get to spend time with my family. We take them on trips that we'll go to a Big Green Egg Festival where there's people just grilling and cooking and having a good time all day. And it's awful work. But we've made, wonderful family trips out of that. And even to fast forward to last year, where now we can start investing and getting into the real estate world. And, we've gotten a couple different properties. We're, looking at what we can do with that. I'm trying to learn as much as I can to pay less taxes. That's the bottom line, because there's two things that are certain in life: death and taxes. And I got a lot of living to go. So there's a lot of taxes to pay, or not, if I figure this out. So exactly. That's where we're at. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. What's a favorite book that you could recommend to our listeners?
So I'd probably hear it quite a bit on your shows, the Rich Dad Poor Dad, that I read years and years ago. I'm like, man, what does he mean? Go to school, get a good job, all that stuff. That's what I did. I thought I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And then, finally we get into the business world and start our own business. So I think that's awesome. But his other book, I don't know if you've heard his recent book called Fake by Robert Kiyosaki. That one is, I want to make you think differently, about our college, the cost of college education, and just kind of a lot of stuff going on in the world, and just thinking differently and how we can set ourselves up better and smarter. And we play cash flow with the boys, and that's always good fun.
How old are your kids?
They are 17 and almost 15. Mason's birthday is here.
Okay. So they're able to, I was just wondering, because, I've got younger kids. Mine are 6 and 10, and I'm going, well, they understand cash flow at that age? Probably. Yeah.
There's a cash flow for kids that starts with like lemonade stands and fun stuff like that.
I want to do everything I can to get my kids into like the different mindset, and it's hard because they're obviously influenced greatly in school and everywhere else by the normal mindset that everybody gets forced
normal. What's normal, Todd? I think I saw that once on a dryer upstairs, and I don't know how to work that thing.
I love it. So what's the kind of, where's the company going? What's the future? What do you envision moving forward?
Yeah, so we've got a wonderful presence. We launched a new product last year. It's called the Kich Ash Can. So it works in conjunction with the Kich Ash Basket. So there's always some new products coming in the barbecue world. However, I mean, I have other interests. We're going to do some stuff in real estate. We did buy our own first property last year, where I've got a 3-bed, 2-bath rental with a detached shop garage that I can rent storage space and stuff. And there's a little bit of property. We need some more with that. Also doing some syndication investments with that as well, trying to be smarter. I can use our SDIRA, self-directed. So if you've got folks out there, that's a powerful tool to utilize and whatnot. So there's that. But then, man, I love snowboarding and mountain biking, and I'm always thinking of ways or new ideas we can implement in that side of the world. Either new equipment, different mechanisms. So there's some stuff coming that I got in the works. I've got some friends with 3D printers and fun stuff like that. We can get some rapid prototyping done really quick.
So potentially looking at what other product deficiencies are there out there, and how can you solve those issues, which is really quite brilliant. I mean, to look at, and that's why I was so intrigued by your company, because it's such a simple idea, yet nobody does it, right? There's a problem, and you weren't the first person to have this problem, I guarantee it. So lots of people are having this problem, and there's probably people that are making these little contraptions similar to what you did, and they've done it. They've solved the problem for them, and that's it. But then you come to the table and you go, okay, I got this problem. How do I solve it? You make it, and you see there's a need for it, and you create a company out of it. And that's where it's so cool. Is your product is a simple product for another product, right? Mm-hmm. For ceramic, for big green egg, and for all those. And so it's just solving that little need that's out there, and it's not extravagant, but it solves a big need, and people want it, people buy it. And so if you could take and replicate that, of course, into some of your other hobbies that you have. And the cool thing too is it's a hobby that you have. You enjoy grilling, you enjoy doing it. So you solved your problem and a ton of other people's problem. And that's so cool. And that's what I like about what you did. And you got a cool name and a cool slogan. So that's pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, that's part of the fun is you're just getting out there and living. Trevor was pestering me at the end of the year. All right, we got to come up. What's the next thing? I'm like, hey, you know what, man? I need to just live a little bit and find some problems, because there's stuff out there, right? And you just got to look at things differently and say, gosh, if I need to solve this problem for me, other people may want that problem solved too. So, if people just start looking beyond the end of their nose and saying, gosh, if I could do this better, rather than just keep, it's like, how did the snowblower come up? Oh my gosh, my back hurts from shoveling. Gosh, if I could mechanize this, make it a lot easier. So there we go.
Yep. Or other people just moved to like Arizona, but
you can do that too. I like snow.
Awesome. Well, I got a couple more questions for you. What are your 3 pillars of wealth creation?
3 pillars of wealth creation. So that's an interesting thing. So something actually I was talking with my boys about this past weekend is we all have these God-given talents, and for me, I kind of look at myself as a creative person who likes to do things differently and find solutions and stuff. So I think it's embracing those talents and sharing them with other people. That's a big one for me. My son is awesome at playing the violin, and he loves to share it. And if it takes him somewhere in life, great. If not, that's great too. My youngest son just loves people. He loves helping out and doing things too. So follow that. And for me, it's been, always have a positive attitude. That'll take a smile, gets you a lot further than an angry frown. Right? I think that's the biggest one for me.
Yeah. And
then, if I got to name 3, persistence and continuous learning. Just grow every day. I enjoy my daily meditations and just the quiet time, and and all of a sudden this new idea pops up, and if it goes somewhere, great. If not, that's great too. But yeah,
Awesome.
there you go.
Awesome. Well, Chad, how can our listeners get in touch with you, learn about the product, reach out to you? How can they do that?
Yeah, you could go to our website, which is kickashbasket.com. That's ASH. It's a family show. Otherwise, they can find me on social media at Facebook or Instagram. It's Kich Ash Basket, both those locations.
Okay.
And if you want to chat, you can reach out to me via email too. It's chad@kickashbasket.com. And I'm pretty much an open book. I mean, sitting here in my flannel and my barbecue t-shirt I got on today. I don't know. So that's how I am.
I love it. I really enjoy talking with business owners like you who are just kind of humble, down to earth, and a little bit like me, kind of little, I don't know what you want to call it, redneck or whatever we want to call us, but just kind of yeah. But enjoy the conversation with people like you that are just humble, out there, just you're just out there, you created a business and you're having fun with it. And, you solve a bunch of people's problems. And like you said, you're just embracing your talents and you're sharing them with people.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Now there's challenges. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I'm sure. But there's a lot of challenges we haven't talked about with operating and running a business. But one thing that you just said there as well is the persistence is so key to being able to push on and get beyond those challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ripple effect is crazy. I know our friend Trevor reminds me of that. He's like, how many people do you think you've influenced to grow more with your product? I'm like, I don't know, a couple thousand. He's like, well, take that beyond those folks and the people that they're cooking for, and you could add that up to millions pretty easily. And I'm like, that's humbling in that respect right there, And if we can all do that a little bit with our talents and whatnot, I think we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love the mindset. Love the way you're thinking about it. Well, Chad, appreciate it. Appreciate the time and the value you're able to add to our show. You have a fantastic rest of the day.
Yeah, you do. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Kich Ash day.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Couple things before we go. Again, go on to our Facebook page, Pillars of Wealth. We'd love to have you on there. Go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review, and subscribe to the show. Also, don't forget, reach out to me if you want any help with potentially growing your business, and reach out to John Stiles to help you buy or sell real estate. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Have a fantastic the rest of the day. And as I say, make every day a Saturday.